What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. Today, we're going to be talking some coaching hire grades. The latest one, Kevin Willard to Villanova from Maryland. We're going to take a look at kind of the top jobs that have opened, who they've hired. I'm going to give you a grade that we're going to kind of look at kind of their resume a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started. Join me down in the comment section. Let me know your grades for these guys. First off, Kevin Willard just announced going from Maryland to Villanova, just lost in the Sweet 16. Was kind of the worst kept secret in college basketball right now that he was going to Villanova. They even asked him after the game what he was doing, and he was like, I don't know. So with this hire, let me pull up his resume before I explain why. But I gave him a B+. So this is a solid hire. Most of the hires so far in this cycle I've been a fan of, but here's Kevin Willard's resume a little bit. The reason I got him a B+, it depends on what Villanova's goal is here. If they want to move on from the Kyle Neptune era and just get back to relevancy, making the tournament, it's an A+. He's going to make the tournament. He's going to be solid, or at least I assume he's going to make the tournament, but he's going to be solid nonetheless. You can see here was pretty good at Seton Hall for what Seton Hall is. Had a lot of good years there at Seton Hall. You can see 583 win percentage, 225 and 161. Multiple seasons making the NCAA tournament. Multiple seasons, ending the season ranked, something Villanova has not done since Jay Wright has been gone. So he's going to get them back to the tournament. He's going to have them in the rankings probably. So they're going to be better than they have been under Kyle Neptune. That's no doubt. But if their goal is to win championships, I don't know if that's going to happen. So that's where it drops down to a B+ for me. You might could argue an A- because he's good, not great. Really quality head coach, good head coach, but has yet to get over that hump. Now at Seton Hall, probably wasn't expected, but at Maryland, like this year, I thought they disappointed a little bit as far as how they capped off the season. I thought they put up a little better performance than they did against Florida in the end, and they just didn't. So that's why I've got Kevin Willard at a B+. Solid hire for sure, but nothing spectacular. All right, next up, Sean Miller going from Xavier to Texas. I've got this at a B-. This one, kind of iffy for me because personally, number one, I'm a Texas fan. Number two, Sean Miller, the luster is kind of worn off of him, as far as how he is viewed as a head coach. You look at these Arizona seasons right there in the middle. I mean, he would have been a top 10 head coach, top 5 head coach probably at the time. But ever since he's got busted for all that stuff, or whatever the FBI investigated under his program, I think paying players, I would assume, at Arizona. But it goes back to Xavier, has done a solid job there, but you can kind of tell it's getting worse and worse going from about right here in 2017 and 2018. It's gotten progressively worse from how he was in this little stretch right here. 2010 to 2018, awesome run right here. You can see he's ranked every year, a high of number 1 in 2013, bunch of awesome recruiting classes. So I'm curious to see on how he does there with Texas. As far as bringing in recruits, Rodney Terry didn't do a great job there. I mean, Chris Beard, you had a top 5 head coach. Then they go the Rodney Terry route. Didn't work out. Sean Miller reportedly would have been the candidate last time if they would have beat Texas in the tournament. They didn't, so they went with Rodney Terry. But this year, okay, they made the tournament, lost in round 1. Backtrack to this 2022 year. This is kind of the year when they had that good season, ran into Texas, and I think the Sweet 16 lost to them there. So he's done okay at Xavier since he's got back. But if he can get Texas to these Arizona years right here, then we're cooking with something special. I mean, you're looking at his overall resume, 713 win percentage, 487 and 196. That's some good numbers right there. He recruits good. We'll see how he can do being back at a bigger school, because that was when, everybody was probably paying somebody, but it wasn't quite universally accepted. Now it's universally accepted. You can pay whoever you want. So we'll see on exactly how Sean Miller works out, but that's why I've got it at a B-. All right, so next up here, Darian DeVries, going from West Virginia to Indiana. I've got it at a B+. DeVries, he had the good year at Drake. Let me pull this up. Sorry. Good year at Drake before he went over to West Virginia. This little run right here, making the NCAA tournament, 27-8, 28-7. And then this year, should have made the tournament at West Virginia, that's for sure. They kind of got screwed in that for North Carolina. He's also bringing his son with him, so that's a plus. His son can play. His son's good, Tucker DeVries. But 713 win percentage, 169 and 68. I think he's going to do good at Indiana. Definitely better than Mike Woodson. It's an improvement there. I do see them being an NCAA tournament team. I mean, you can see here multiple NCAA tournament appearances of Drake. Um, I I think he's a good head coach. They should have made the tournament at West Virginia, like I said, this year. I like the resources he's probably going to have at Indiana. We'll see. I think he's got a good head start with already having his son, like I said, so that gives you a starter that you're bringing in with you. Um, I I think he can have success at Indiana. I like Darian DeVries as a coach. He does some good stuff offensively. So that's how I've got him at a B plus. All right, so next up, another Drake coach, Ben McCollum. Going to Iowa, I've got him at an A. Now, how he's done at Drake, that's up for debate because obviously you're building off of what Darren DeVries built, but you have to just completely recycle this year. 31 and 4, one NCAA tournament game. Um, with them though, his resume, why he's this high for me, is because of what he's done at the D2 level. Won multiple national championships. I think he's won 3, I believe. And I think they might have been back to back, but multiple national championships. Brings these guys with him to Drake, bunch of D2 guys, gets the job done. He's got Bennett Sturts coming with him to Iowa, so that gives you an automatic starter as well. And Iowa under Fran McCaffrey, frankly, hasn't been very good. And Ben McCollum is going to run a different style than most. He's going to slow it down. They're going to take shots at the end of the shot clock. It's going to be a different brand of basketball, but it works. It works for what he does, the guys he brings in. We'll see what their peak can be. I don't know if they're necessarily going to win national championships, but again, what's the goal there? I'd say the goal is to get to the NCAA tournament, and I think he's going to do that. It's going to be tough to do a lot better than that at Iowa. It is tough, but I'm curious to see what kind of guys he can bring in going to a power conference, a high major. Because before that, being at Drake, you bring in those D2 guys that have had success. You bring in a bunch of guys with you from the previous school you were at, and it worked. But I'll be curious to see what kind of guys he can bring in. I would assume some probably mid majors that fit his mold. But I think he'll do a good job at Iowa. All right, next up, Niko Medved, Colorado State to Minnesota, A minus. Like I said, I'm a big fan of most of the hires this cycle. Haven't been, at least the ones we're going to talk about here. I don't think there's anything lower than a B or B minus. But Niko Medved, what he did at Colorado State this year, really good job. Got beat on a crappy buzzer beater. The guy probably walked from Maryland. Heck of a run though these past couple years at Colorado State, 25 and 11, 26 and 10, multiple NCAA tournament appearances. And you can see a common theme here. This is 3 Drake head coaches in a row we're talking about. So if you go to Drake, you're probably going to wind up in a power conference, probably wind up in the Big Ten eventually. But at Colorado State, I thought Niko Medved did a really good job. He recruited well as far as bringing guys in the transfer portal and just bringing in guys recruit-wise to fit his system. And Minnesota doesn't really have a track record of being very good at basketball as of late. So Medved's kind of got free reign here to take his time, probably, I would assume, to get things moving. He can probably afford a 12 and 20 year like he did here and keep on moving. You look at how he did at Colorado State, though, 627 win percentage, 143 and 85. Good stuff here, multiple times being ranked. I've been impressed with his offensive schemes he runs. Like this year they had Nick Clifford, which was just an animal. But the pieces he had around him to be able to hit shots and to have a big guy down low to play defense, I liked his system, having a bigger guy bring it up sometimes in Nick Clifford. So I'm curious to see how it translates to Minnesota, but I like Niko Medved. I like the hire. All right, moving on here. Will Wade, McNeese State to NC State. This is as close to an A plus as you can get, but I wasn't going to give out an A plus because you just never know. But Will Wade gets an A for me. The dude has a tremendous track record of winning ball games everywhere he goes. Whether it's at McNeese State, whether it's at VCU, whether it's at LSU. I mean, the guy wins. 246 of 105. Awesome resume. Brought in a ton of good recruits to LSU. Now, similar to Sean Miller, was he paying dudes? Maybe. The reason he's a little higher for me is because of what he has done at McNeese versus what Sean Miller has done as his second stint at Xavier. I think he'll probably have NC State in the tournament next year. If not, it'll be year 2 for sure. But definitely brings an impact to the ACC that is needed. They only have like 3 good teams right now because you really can't even put North Carolina in that conversation, even though they made the tournament. But Will Wade is a winner. He's going to win at NC State. How long will it take? We'll see. But you give him time, I promise you he's going to win you ball games. Will Wade gets me an A. All right, next up, Ryan Odom going from VCU to Virginia. Drake, similar to VCU, in that whoever is the guy at VCU is going to get a better job. I mean, you backtrack from Shaka going to Texas to, I think, Mike Rhodes is at Penn State now. A ton of guys have left VCU and propelled that into another job. But Ryan Odom has won a lot of places. UMBC won a tournament game. Utah State, similar situation. That usually gets you a better job as well. 26-9 year right here. Then at VCU this year, 28-7, really good run. Ran into a BYU team in the tournament that was just playing good. 201 to 117 overall resume. But Ryan Odom is a winner. It might not be the prettiest brand of basketball at times, but he's going to win ball games. And ultimately, with what Virginia went through this year and with Tony Bennett kind of leaving them high and dry, they need a winner right now. I think Ryan Odom does a good job. The ACC got better with bringing in him and Will Wade. All right, and last but not least on this list, I've got Josh Pastner at UNLV, formerly of Memphis and Georgia Tech. And he also, it came out today that he's bringing in the head coach from Santa Clara as an assistant. I think that's a really big hire. UNLV, kind of a sleeping giant, I think, in the Mountain West. I think if you get the right guy in the UNLV, I think you can win a lot of ball games. But Josh Pastner kind of has a pretty good resume. I mean, he took over for Cal at Memphis, which was not easy, because John Calipari had things running there and rolling. But you can tell there multiple seasons of being ranked here from 2010 to 2013 to 14, multiple tournament appearances. And then at Georgia Tech, he only had the one NCAA tournament appearance, but it's not easy to win there. But he was kind of so-so there. That year, they were solid. That year that they made the NCAA tournament. But other than that, though, wasn't super pretty at Georgia Tech. But again, it's easier, I would say, to win a UNLV than it is Georgia Tech and Memphis. So I think having that track record of where he's been, usually you'll see guys struggle at the big level, but then they'll drop back down, to a mid-major and have success. I think Josh Pastner can have success in the UNLV. So I'm a big fan of this hire. I almost had it a B+, but I gave it a B. But those are my current coaching hire grades for the current openings. We'll see who Maryland goes after. There's some rumors, could be maybe Buzz Williams, could be maybe Chris Beard. We'll see. But what would you give these hires? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. And most importantly, subscribe.